Hello and welcome to the Art of Decluttering podcast. I am Amy, your host. I'm the owner of the Art of Decluttering, and if you are new to the show, welcome. You will see that we have started the third season, and really in podcast land, seasons are completely arbitrary because there's no one telling us when we have to have one season stop and another one start. And that's totally fine. I think I went the first 6 years without having like all in one season. And then in 2023, I made that season 2. And so I thought, why not in 2024 start season 3? Completely arbitrary, but welcome. I know that there are so many of you that have found the show as you're starting out 2024 and excited to kind of get that decluttering done. You may have made a New Year's resolution, or you may have just like given yourself a kick up the butt and said, this is the year or this is the month. I'm going to declutter. I'm going to free myself from the burden of clutter that I have in my head and my heart and my home. I know our Facebook community has been going a bit bananas. There are so many people joining, like 100 a day, and it's exciting to see how many people are decluttering. A few of the group members have initiated a really fun declutter, one thing on the first and 2 things on the second. It's it's inspired by the minimalists who play that game. So feel free to come over into the Facebook community and join in on that fun. Today, I want to talk to you about memories. It's a game that I'm not very good at. And generally speaking, my memory is not awesome. But when it comes to decluttering and organising, one of the really significant factors is about memories. And so today I want to talk to you about 3 different components of memories that come to play in the decluttering and organising process. And the first is creating memories. The second is storing memories, and the third is recalling memories. So one of the reasons that I'm passionate about living in a decluttered home is because I want to make memories. And if all the memories I have when I'm in my house is of me tidying up, doing the dishes, meal prepping, shopping, decluttering, cleaning, vacuuming, if that's 95% of my memories, then I want something to shift so that my memories can be different. My boys quite like board games, and we've been playing a lot of Phase 10 in the last week. And then Elijah has gone on a bit of a hyper focus to learn how to play poker. So we've been having a bit of fun with that. We bought, we just need a couple of decks of cards, and we've got some toy chips that we play with. And it's been really fun. And what I'm conscious of is that if my house was constantly needing my attention, I wouldn't have time when he says, hey, Mum, can we learn poker together? Now, I should say we're not gambling, just in case anyone cares, but we're not. We're just playing. It's just a fun game. When he says, can we do this? I might otherwise be like, oh, honey, I would love to, but I need to tidy the spare room, or I need to go through the baby clothes, or the garage is overwhelming, or the garden's out of control, or I really should go through my photos. And then sometimes it just stops us from creating those memories. And so I want to encourage you, if you need to refocus on your why for this year, let creating memories be your why. Let it be the reason that you want to, make the bikes accessible in the garage so that you can go for bike rides. Or make it really easy to find your gift wrapping and your cards so that when you go to a party, you don't also have to spend half a day at the shops buying all the things so that you can, go prepared to a birthday party. Maybe it's about having an organised fridge and pantry and freezer so that when it comes to mealtime, it's actually pretty quick to decide what to cook, what to grab, and you're not making 3 trips to the shops or wasting money and then not having money to do things like go to the movies or go to the driving range or just go for a bushwalk. So that creating memories is like, it has to be the guiding light. There's not really a better reason to declutter than to create memories, to be with the people that you love, doing the things that you love, doing it in the time that you can, where you've got health or you've got finances or you've got family around. Like, do the good stuff. Create memories. We went down to the beach the other day with our friends Charles and April, and we just had a day of memories. Now, I had to take a day off work for it. It was 100% worth it. And also, our house doesn't make us like pay back. So we came home and we didn't have to pay back the house by like spending a day catching up, because there's not that much stuff here. Even as simple as if you have too many clothes, the washing is usually out of control. And so if you do go on a day trip and you've got bathers and towels and whatever else you've got, Sometimes you can come back and think, oh my gosh, now I've just got to deal with all the washing. But if you don't have that much, it's really easy to be on top of it before you go. And so it's just like a normal day. So that's all around creating memories. Why don't we go to a super quick break, and then I want to come back and talk to you importantly about storing memories and how to enhance and enable recalling memories. All right, so one of the things that professional organisers are really good at is helping people to store memories. Our job as declutterers is not to come in and say, yeah, that's all good. That's one of your important memories. Let's just get rid of it. You don't need that anymore. What a waste of space. That's not how a good professional organiser works. And if your professional organiser or someone that you're listening to or following speaks like that, find someone better to follow. Find a better professional organiser that will come into your home and help you to honour the memories that you have. So one of the objectives when you've created these memories is how do you store the memories? Now, obviously, we're not talking about like how do we store memories in your brain, but it's how do you store the memories for the purpose of recalling the memories, right? So storing and recalling are really, really important, and they interact with each other a heap. So it's your responsibility to create the memories and then think of ways that you can store and then recall the memories. So the way that you store memories is all about enabling recollection or recalling the memories. So have a think about if you had a grandparent that served their country in some way. So it might have been in sports, it might have been in conflict, it might have been in parliament, it might have been as a school teacher, and you've got lots of things that celebrate them and their achievement. The way that you store them is really important because you want to be able to find the things, tell the stories, pass them on, recall them, and honour the pieces. So it might be that you store everything in a big box that says, Dad's teaching accolades or, mum's Olympic stuff. But you may then have a few signature pieces that trigger the memories and the recollection that you want to display. So you can store things, but if everything is just stored in boxes, you don't have opportunity for recalling. And the recalling actually adds depth, and it adds flavor, and it adds what's the richness? That's the word I'm looking for. It adds richness to the stored memories because you're recalling and you're telling the stories and you're integrating and weaving your family into those stories by recalling them and sharing them and telling them. And so, for instance, it might be that you do have a whole lot of things from someone who's done amazing things and they are in a box. But maybe what you do is you have like a little spot in your house, and it might be once a year, you swap out the things that sit in that special place to remind you. And it might be that it's a photo frame that you might put a letter in and a ticket stub and a medal. Or it might be that in there goes a piece of a handkerchief and a newspaper clipping or whatever it is. I want you to think about how do I store it so that I can recall it. So it's not that everything has to be on display. It's not that everything needs to be recalled, but the person or the event or the thing that the memory is the thing we want to recall. So it could look like a few different other ways. So it might look like storing memories that you get a electronic photo frame and on a particular USB drive, or it might just be a cloud thing that you can sync up and you have a Google Drive folder or something like that, where you put all the photos from your wedding. So you've created the memories, you got married, you're storing the memories, so you've got them on a cloud or a USB drive and maybe even both. But how are you going to recall them? We know an electric photo frame or a digital photo frame where you can have those memories flow through. And it might be that in the month that you celebrate your wedding anniversary, you have photos of your wedding come up. But you might schedule it so that in the month that your grandchild was born, you have photos of them come up. Or in the month that you immigrated to Australia, or you immigrated to the UK or whatever, you have photos that come up over that. Or you made a big overseas trip. In that month, you celebrate that. So can you see how the storing, the purpose of the storing is to recall? Now, there's a sense to which you can store everything away, but still recall it in other methods. So it might be that you don't have space, or you don't even want to have anything out on display that was from a career that you did. Let's say you're an incredible dancer. And so you've got programs, and you've got ballet shoes, and you've got tutus and costumes, and you've got all the things. But actually, for whatever reason, it's not something you want to display. Maybe you broke your leg or snapped your Achilles. And so actually seeing those things can be a bit sad. What you could do is create a photo book. So you've got all the things in a box, create a photo book that sits on the bookshelf that you can grab the photo book. Or it might be that you've got a box and you put a QR code on the outside of the storage box that may be in, say, the garage, but the QR code actually shows you photos of what's in the box. So you don't necessarily have to go out to the box to go through it and find everything, but you've stored them in a way that you can recall the memories. Yeah, so yes, you can store them away, out of sight, out of reach, intentionally put away. But then if you want to recall them, how are you going to recall them? How are you going to be able to go through that box when a friend comes over, or your sister comes over, or your brother-in-law comes over, and someone's telling the story of, hey, do you remember when? Is there a way that you can pull out a memory that can be recalled and shared? So what I'm hoping is that your brain is flicking off a whole lot of neurons around different ways that you can store and recall memories. And look, even the most simplest way is think about, when I got married, the photographer gave us a photo album that has all the photos in it. So that's how we stored them. We didn't get digital because we got married before digital cameras. That's how old we are. So they're stored. And the way that we recall them is we have one photo, one that we love, that's our favorite, on our wall. So you can see they're stored. And then I've selected one to put on a frame on the wall that helps us to recall. And so I think we've been naturally doing this with photos for probably 50 years, where you're like, yeah, I'm not going to put every photo up on the wall. But for some reason we think, oh yeah, but I am going to keep every ticket stub on a big pinboard. And so actually, why am I displaying everything? Or I love teacups, and so I am going to display all my teacups. Well, wouldn't it be more special if you just stored them in a way that helped you to live clutter-free, but you had something that helped you to recall them? So you might just have 3 cups out that you use. And then what you also might find is if you've created some digital way to recall memories, you might have put photos on a USB stick, you might have written out the stories, you might have created a photo book. Whatever you've done, you may find over time that some of the physical items can be decluttered, because what you've done is you've created the memories, you've stored the memories, but you haven't necessarily had to store the items. And importantly, what you've done is you've created an avenue for you to recall the memories and retell the memories. And so just think creatively when you're next decluttering something, how am I going to store the memories? And how am I going to then trigger a recall of the memories? And are there things that I can declutter? Maybe I don't need all of the things from when we went on our big Europe trip. I don't need the maps, because I do know that you can get all that online. Or maybe I do want to create a photo book, or maybe I just want a small box with things in it, and on the outside I decorate it with a few special items so that just the box itself reminds me of the Europe trip. And then keep coming back to, why are we doing this? We're doing this so that we can create more memories. Create memories with our kids, with our partners, with our friends, with our colleagues, with strangers. Like, creating these memories is the fun part, and it's not the end of the world. And to be honest, it's just part of life, is that you will forget some memories. You'll have awesome adventures that you will one day forget and will be lost to the secrets of time. And that's also okay. You do not have to create a photo book for every single event that you ever do. You don't have to keep the ticket stubs from every concert you ever go to. You don't have to do that, because the memory itself has been created and is deep within you, even if it's lost to time. I hope that's encouraging for you. If you need some help in 2024 with storing and recalling memories and knowing what to do in those tricky areas, please reach out. We'd love to help you. Just visit our website, theartofdecluttering.com.au, send through a contact form message, and I will be in touch with you. I'm really glad that you've joined me for today's episode. I would love to encourage you to go back over the last season 2. Go and see if you've missed some episodes that you really could gain a lot of insight from. And until next week, enjoy the freedom. I would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people who are the traditional custodians of the land this podcast is recorded on. I would also like to pay respects to their elders, both past and present, of the Kulin Nation, and extend that respect to other Indigenous Australians. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love you to rate and review the show on your podcast app. That will help others to find the Art of Decluttering podcast as well. If you'd like any more information, you can visit theartofdecluttering.com.au. And I would love to see you in my Facebook group. Just search the Art of Decluttering community on Facebook and join today. I hope that you have an incredible rest of your day and enjoy the freedom.